Hello and welcome to another episode from Kansas. Rob Portman, the Ohio senator, has announced that he will retire and will not be seeking re-election in 2022. Portman is not just another senator. He is well respected on both sides of the aisle, a conservative, and he is only 65 years old. In the world of 70 plus presidents and 80 plus senators, 65 is young. And Portman is from Ohio, a state that has become staunchly Republican over the years and voted for Trump twice. But still, a well known senator with plenty of name recognition, with age on his side, decided to retire. Incumbents are not easy to defeat because they have experience winning. They know how to mount a campaign, have established connections that helps them with fundraising, and they are known across the state. With the Senate majority on the line in 2022, why would a well established senator announce his retirement and complicate his own party's path to win back the majority? With Portman, the GOP now has opened three seats it is holding for the primary: Portman's seat from Ohio, Pat Toomey's seat from Pennsylvania, and Richard Burr's seat from North Carolina. With Trump supporters on the prowl to get into positions of power, the odds of a hard right candidate emerging from the Republican side is as bright as ever, making the job of the Democrats a bit more easier than they would have had if they were asked to fight against incumbent senators. It doesn't really add up, does it? Why Republicans, senator after senator, are making it hard for their own party to take back the Senate in 2022? Why Republican senators keep retiring while none of the Democratic senators do? So, what in the heck is going on? Welcome to the degradation of the Republican Party. From a party of conservative ideals, small government, business friendly policies, less taxes, and national security, the Republican Party has become the Zeno's Pizza House, an evangelical base with a generously applied topping of nationalism, xenophobia, and white grievance. You have a better chance to win the election in red districts if your resume has QAnon in it. There is not a lot of space for people with pedigree. Well-built resumes that oozes experience go straight into the garbage bin. Who cares if Rob Portman was a skilled negotiator or if he was the director of the Office of Management and Budget? Do you think his experience will make any difference if he were to run in a Republican primary in some red state this year? No. A hardcore Trump supporter will defeat Portman in a heartbeat. If you are like me, if you were someone who hoped that the events that unfolded on January 6th will finally push the Republican Party towards its old self, then you better be prepared to be sorely disappointed. Rob Portman was ranked as the fourth most bipartisan member of the US Senate, and his decision to retire instead of seeking another term is all the confirmation you need to understand that the GOP is not seeking redemption after January 6th, but instead it is barreling down the same road to forfeit everything that the party had stood for in the past. The current Republican Party has no more space for moderates. If you are a swing state Republican, then the countdown to the end of your career has already started, unless you want to do a Ted Cruz. Remember Jeff Flake, the former senator from Arizona who got marginalized by his own party for standing up to Trump? Jeff Flake refused to seek re-election in 2018, opening up the Senate seat in Arizona, and voila, Kyrsten Sinema walked all over the GOP candidate Martha McSally. That's what happens when incumbents retire in states where both the parties are in with a chance. It just makes it easier for the opposition in the state. The Republicans have now turned three seats into open contests, and after three, Biden won Pennsylvania with a handy margin, came close in North Carolina, and lost Ohio by a wide margin. But there is 0% chance that any moderate candidate will be able to win the Republican primary in any of the three states. The farther to the right you are, the better the chance for you to win the primary. But how far you are to the right in these three states will also decide the kind of margin you are going to have to lose the race. The GOP could still win Ohio with a bad candidate, but Pennsylvania and North Carolina will be decided by the candidate's distance from the center. Okay, granted, I'm not going to underestimate the Democratic innate ability to lose races that they are supposed to win. The Senate seat in North Carolina was pretty much in the Democratic pocket until Cal Cunningham got himself mixed up in the sexting scandal, a problem of his own making, and the Democrats gifted a winnable Senate seat back to the Republicans. So depending on the kind of candidate that rises to the top from both sides, all three seats will be won or lost in 2022. As of now, the odds are quite high for a radical right-wing candidate to rise up through the Republican ranks and blow the chances of the Republican Party to win back the Senate. Mr. Portman said that this is a tough time to be in public service because the country is polarized and both the parties are getting squeezed from the left and the right, leaving very little space for people like him to operate from the center. Those were not his exact words, I'm just paraphrasing it. But if that is the case, that the country is being pulled by the right and the left, then that is exactly the time for people like Portman to stay in the middle and hold things together, not leave the political scene and allow for things to be taken over by people in the far right and far left. But for whatever reason, Mr. Portman and few other senators from his own party have decided to leave. Many things could push people to seek retirement. It could be a personal choice, but I'm just not able to believe that it is a coincidence that we have three retirements from the Republican side and all three senators are from swing states. To win back the Senate, the GOP has to hold all its current seats and flip one back from the Democrats. That in itself is a difficult job. And three open seats have only made the difficult map for the Republican Party even more difficult. It will be down to Democrats' high level of ability to keep fumbling the interceptions and lose the game so close to the finish line. And GOP's ability to use the extra time these three senators have given the party by announcing their retirements well in advance. As one moderate senator after another lines up towards the exit, the people who deserve honorary degrees in lying and spouting conspiracy theories with a straight face are lining up to be elevated within the GOP. We already have a congresswoman who is a conspiracy theorist, and now it has also been confirmed that Sarah Huckabee Sanders will be running for governor's race in Arkansas. If she wins, the people of Arkansas will trust her 100%. Every word she says will be nothing but the truth. Every word she says will be the truth and only the truth. She will be so transparent that her administration will be so refreshing. So there you go, none of this is coincidence. On the one side, moderates are running for the exit, and on the other side, far-right candidates and Trump supporters are queuing up to take the positions of power. The moderate exits are happening in swing states while the right's ascension is happening in the deep red states. The GOP is not moving towards the center as many of us would have hoped. Instead, it is doubling down towards the right, clutching its shrinking base harder and harder. Elevation of hard-right candidates to the position of power will only make it as much harder for the party to change its direction in the future. This is exactly what happened in the 1990s in California. Not a long time ago, the Republican Party controlled all the levers of power in California. Reagan was a Republican governor in California in 1975. Today, the Democrats enjoy a supermajority control in the state. The Democrats hold 30 out of 40 seats in the California Senate and 60 out of 80 seats in the Assembly and the governor's seat as well. From ruling the state, the Republicans in less than 3 decades became the everlasting minor than a minority party in the state. Is there a path for them to climb back? Nope, not going to happen for another 2 to 3 decades. It will need a drastic change in direction. This is exactly what happens when you start practicing the politics of subtraction instead of addition, where instead of expanding your party's base, you start gripping your shrinking base while using voter suppression tactics to make up for the ever-reducing base of votes. From being in the safely Republican column for years, California has now become something akin to a single party system. If you want to run for a statewide office in the state, the contest is only between Democratic candidates. So how did that happen? This is how.
They keep coming. 2 million illegal immigrants in California. The federal government won't stop them at the border, yet requires us to pay billions to take care of them. Governor Pete Wilson sent the National Guard to help the Border Patrol. But that's not all.
For Californians who work hard, pay taxes, and obey the laws, I'm suing to force the federal government to control the border. And I'm working to deny state services to illegal immigrants. Enough is enough.
Governor Pete Wilson.
Watching the steady increase in Latino voting in the state, the Republican Party, which was in power during that time, resorted to looking inwards. And to protect its turf, it started moving towards what can only be termed as nationalistic policies, a cover for xenophobia, and took a hardline stance on immigration and an openly anti-minority position. The GOP's demise in California accelerated with Pete Wilson's decision to embrace xenophobia, something that rhymes perfectly with the current direction of the Republican Party. In 1994, California had closer to 1.3 million undocumented immigrants. As the state was just coming out of a deep recession, the politicians in power, who were responsible for governing, needed something, someone, or some group to pin the blame. The Republican Party pushed a proposition called 187, also known as Save Our State Initiative, that tried to establish a screening system that barred undocumented immigrants from using the state's healthcare system, the public education system, and many other government services. The proposition actually got passed with 59% support. The bill got mired in a ton of lawsuits, and after courts kept chipping away at the margins, by 1997, the law was deemed unconstitutional. But the whole saga had clearly set the two parties, the GOP and the Democrats, into two divergent and utterly irreconcilable directions. To this day, the California GOP is not able to turn around and embrace the path of addition. And the further they tried to blame the immigrants and non-whites for all the problems that existed in the state, the smaller their support base became. As population kept increasing in California, in the end it became too much for the Republican Party to even compete with the Democrats. Pete Wilson turned a safe red state into a safe blue state forever with just one simple move. Donald Trump may have done the same to the national GOP. 2021 will be the last chance for the Republicans to turn things around. And if they blow this chance, the odds of making a comeback will become harder and harder with each passing year. And I really hope that this does not lead the entire country into a single party system for decades. Even in 2020, the Democrats in California love to keep reminding the Latinos of what Mr. Wilson and his party tried to do in 1994. When they celebrated the 25th anniversary of Proposition 187 last November, California's Latino Legislative Caucus thanked Mr. Wilson for turning California into a deep blue state. So is Trump the new Wilson? The parallel between the politics deployed by the two men are hard to ignore. But the question I have is, will the parallel end between the two men, or will it extend to California GOP and the national GOP? Portman's decision to retire in 2022 is a clear sign that the national GOP is actually following in the footsteps of the California GOP. It will be down to Mitch McConnell's decision on impeaching Trump in the Senate. If he can convict Trump and cut GOP's losses short, he can save the party's future. If not, then the barrel down the right will continue unchecked for some more time. Thanks for watching. If you like it, please subscribe.